Alex Eala, the commercial that broke the internet. Alright, let's talk about what just happened. Because if you've been anywhere near your phone in the last 24 hours, you already know the internet is absolutely losing it right now. Overflowing comment sections. Group chats lighting up at midnight. And it all traces back to one woman, one brand, and one behind-the-scenes video that nobody was supposed to see this early. Alex Eala just booked a Milo commercial. And the internet? The internet did not handle it calmly. Now before we get into the viral footage itself, let's make sure we're all on the same page about where Alex actually stands right now, because the timing of this makes everything so much more electric. Just days ago, on February 23, 2026, Alex climbed to world number 31 in the WTA rankings. Think about that for a second. 31. In the entire world. She's now the highest-ranked Filipino singles player in the entire history of the sport. Not this generation. Ever. And she didn't get there by surviving tough draws. She got there by doing something that made tennis fans worldwide stop scrolling and actually pay attention. At the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, under the lights, on center court, in front of a packed stadium, she dismantled world number 8 Jasmine Paolini. Not in a fluke. Not in a lucky run. She was systematic, composed, and absolutely ruthless. The tennis world took a long look and went, "She's for real." So here's this 20-year-old flying back from the Middle East, fresh off the best result of her career, already being called one of the most exciting players on tour, and she walks straight onto the set of a Milo commercial. The most iconic sports brand in the Philippines. The brand that has been woven into Filipino childhood since 1964. That's not just good timing. That's a story writing itself. Let me tell you why the behind-the-scenes footage hits so differently. In today's world, it's not always the polished, finished product that goes viral. It's the real moments, the unfiltered glimpses behind the curtain. And that's exactly what spread across every platform within hours. Raw set footage that felt less like a promo and more like catching lightning in a bottle. What you see in those clips is a massive sound stage. Enormous lighting rigs bathing everything in that signature bright green. A full crew of directors, camera operators, stylists, and production staff buzzing around. And right in the center of all of it, Alex. Wearing clean athletic gear with that unmistakable Milo green accent, racket in hand like it's an extension of her arm, not a prop. She's running through her strokes, and even in this commercial setting, the technique is flawless. That two-handed backhand, the same one that tore through Paolini's defense, is crisp, flat, and precise. When the director calls for intensity, she locks in immediately. That fierce, focused competitor you see on the WTA circuit shows up without hesitation. But then the director shouts, "Cut!" and she just lights up. She's laughing with the crew, joking around between takes, completely at ease. That duality is everything for a brand. The fire of a world-class competitor plus the warmth of someone you genuinely want to root for? Marketers spend years trying to manufacture that. Alex just is that. And then comes the moment everyone online keeps replaying. The green mug. The pour. The steam or condensation depending on the shot. Filipinos of every generation know exactly what that image means. Holding that cup in a Milo commercial isn't a product placement. It's an induction. It's the country collectively saying, "You've arrived. You've earned this." The comment sections under those leaked clips are something else entirely. People writing paragraphs about how proud they are. Parents tagging their kids saying, "Work hard and maybe one day that's you." Fans promising to buy crates of the stuff just to support her. That kind of organic, emotional response is worth more than any paid media campaign could ever manufacture. But here's the thing. None of this would land the way it does without understanding the journey that got her here. Because Alex Eala's story isn't a sudden arrival. It's been building for years, and every chapter of it matters. She grew up in Quezon City, the daughter of Riza Eala, who won a bronze medal in swimming at the 1985 Southeast Asian Games. Athletic excellence was in her blood. But tennis, especially at the elite level, demands more than talent. It demands sacrifice on a scale that most people can't fully appreciate. At a young age, Alex made one of the hardest decisions a kid can make. She left home. She left her country, her friends, her comfort zone, and she moved to Spain to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy. Sit with that for a moment. A young teenager, alone in a foreign country, in an environment where the standard is perfection and complacency simply isn't tolerated. The homesickness, the pressure, the sheer mental weight of that commitment, that's the invisible foundation underneath every single thing she's accomplished since. Her junior career was a steady drumbeat of warning signs for the tennis world. Titles in France at 12 years old. Junior doubles titles at the Australian Open and French Open. And then, in 2022, the moment that changed everything, the US Open Girls Singles title. The first Filipino ever to win a Junior Grand Slam Singles Championship. She stood on that platform at Flushing Meadows, gave a speech that moved people to tears, and became something bigger than a tennis player in that instant. She became a symbol, a proof of concept, a real, living answer to the question every young Filipino athlete asks themselves in quiet moments. Can someone like me actually do this? The answer, delivered on the grandest junior stage in the sport, was a resounding yes. But here's where most prodigy stories quietly fall apart. The jump from elite junior to successful professional is one of the most brutal transitions in all of sports. The ITF and WTA circuits don't care about your junior resume. They don't care about your potential. They want results, week after week, against players who've been grinding at this level for years. Alex went through that fire. 2023 and 2024 were about survival, growth, and building the mental armor that the tour demands. Tough losses to seasoned veterans. Long weeks on the road. Grinding through qualifying rounds. Earning every single point the hard way. And then 2025 arrived. She entered the Miami Open as a wild card, ranked well outside the top tier. Nobody expected fireworks. What happened instead became one of the most talked about runs in recent WTA history. She didn't just beat skilled players on her way through the draw. She beat Madison Keys and Irina Camelia Begu, genuine Grand Slam caliber competition, and reached the semifinal of a WTA 1000 event. The first Filipino player ever to reach that stage. The video of her crying on the court afterwards spread everywhere. Not tears of defeat, tears of disbelief and joy, the kind that only come when you've worked so hard for something that the moment it actually happens, your body doesn't quite know how to process it. She ended 2025 inside the top 50. And now, a few months into 2026, she's at number 31 and climbing. When corporations and heritage brands look at that trajectory, they don't just see an athlete. They see a narrative so compelling it practically writes its own campaign. Which brings us to the other half of this equation, Milo itself. In the Philippines, Milo isn't a product. It's a cultural institution. Since arriving in the country in 1964, it has embedded itself so deeply into Filipino life that for most people, it's simply always been there. The National Milo Marathon, which recently celebrated its 50th anniversary, has seen over 3.5 million finishers cross its finish lines. The Milo Sports Clinics have introduced millions of Filipino children to basketball, swimming, volleyball, and tennis since 1983. The brand doesn't just sponsor sports in the Philippines. It actively creates Filipino athletes. And the commercials. Anyone who grew up in the Philippines across the last 4 decades knows exactly what a Milo ad feels like. The young athlete facing a challenge. The moment of doubt. The cup of Milo. The comeback. It's a formula so emotionally precise and culturally resonant that it doesn't feel like advertising. It feels like a love letter to the Filipino spirit of determination. The athletes who've carried that green cup before Alex are legends, basketball greats, volleyball icons, marathon champions, Olympic medalists. When Alex steps into that lineage, she doesn't just get a brand deal. She gets a throne. And here's what makes this particular partnership especially significant. Tennis has historically been seen in the Philippines as a sport for a specific demographic. Country clubs, private schools. Not exactly the most accessible dream for a kid in a province somewhere watching their idol on a second-hand smartphone. Milo is one of the few brands with the reach and the cultural trust to change that perception overnight. By putting Alex front and center in a campaign that will run on every television, every YouTube pre-roll, and every billboard in the country, they're not just selling a drink. They're telling every child in the archipelago that tennis is their sport too, that the courts belong to them, that this game, which Alex is now playing at the highest level on earth, is something they can dream about. That is how you build a sport from the ground up. And the ripple effects of that will be felt in Philippine tennis for a generation. Now let's talk about timing, because whoever decided to let this footage circulate right now deserves an award for strategic brilliance. Just 1 week ago, Alex stood alongside double Olympic gold medalist Carlos Yulo at the Philippine Sports Writers Association Awards ceremony and accepted the 2025 Female Athlete of the Year honor. She delivered her acceptance speech with a grace and maturity that reminded everyone watching that this isn't just a great tennis player. This is an exceptional human being who understands the weight of what she represents. Days later, she's in Dubai dismantling a top 10 opponent in prime time. Then the behind-the-scenes footage drops. The news cycle of her victories is amplifying the hype around the commercial. The commercial hype is bringing new eyes to her recent results. Each piece feeds the other in a self-sustaining loop of visibility that most PR campaigns can only dream of achieving. The iron wasn't just hot, it was white hot. And the timing of this leak caught it at exactly the right temperature. Looking ahead, the commercial's release is going to hit at the perfect moment. Alex is heading to the United States for the Sunshine Double, Indian Wells and Miami, two of the most prestigious events on the entire WTA calendar. The kind of tournaments that some people call the unofficial 5th and 6th Grand Slams, given the depth of the fields and the magnitude of the prize money and ranking points on offer. Miami is where her breakthrough happened. She returns not as a wild card hoping for a miracle, but as the world number 31, a proven giant killer, and now, thanks to this viral moment, a mainstream cultural figure whose name reaches far beyond dedicated tennis fans. The Filipino diaspora across California and Florida will be out in full force. Flags, banners, that particular brand of Filipino crowd energy that makes venues feel like home games no matter where in the world you are. And every single one of those fans will have watched those behind-the-scenes clips. The commercial has already done its job before it's even officially released. As we start to bring this all together, I want to zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture, because what we're witnessing with Alex Eala goes beyond one athlete and one brand. Philippine sports is in the middle of something genuinely historic right now. Carlos Yulo winning double gold in gymnastics at the Olympics. EJ Obaina dominating international pole vaulting. The Filipinas making waves in international football. And now Alex, at 20 years old, sitting at number 31 in the world in one of the most globally competitive individual sports on earth. For a long time, the dominant narrative around Filipino athletics was about heart over resources. About competing bravely against better-funded nations and finding honor in the effort. That narrative was never wrong. It was always real and always moving. But this generation is rewriting it. They're not just competing. They're winning. They're not just participating on the world stage. They're shaping it. And when young athletes across Southeast Asia see Alex Eala holding that green cup on a billboard, competing against the world's best, and winning, something shifts. Ambitions stretch. Parents invest differently. Coaches take kids more seriously. Infrastructure gets built. A positive cycle begins turning. That is the true, lasting value of a partnership like this one. It exceeds the reach of any television commercial. It exceeds any endorsement fee. It becomes part of the mythology of a nation finding its voice in global sport. Alex Eala went from a little girl in Quezon City bouncing balls off walls, to a teenager sacrificing everything to chase a dream in Spain, to a junior Grand Slam champion in New York, to a giant killer on the WTA circuit, to the highest-ranked Filipino tennis player in history, and now to the face of the most beloved sports brand in her country. And she's 20 years old. She isn't sitting on anything she's built. Right now, she's preparing for Indian Wells and Miami with the same quiet intensity that has defined every chapter of her story. Her opponents know who she is now. The tennis world is watching every match. And thanks to this moment, this viral, electric, genuinely exciting cultural event, A massive new audience is discovering her story for the very first time. The market value? Through the roof. The legacy? Being written in real time. The commercial? About to be everywhere. And Alexandra Eala? She was built for exactly this. Thanks for watching. Stay locked in for coverage of her run through the Sunshine Double, and the moment that commercial finally drops everywhere. Keep supporting our athletes. And never stop believing that greatness is always within reach.